What I want you to do is tell the person or the people you're with, this is your license to boast, 3 amazing facts about yourself. Now, but look at the energy in the room. And also, you've been fascinated by some things you've found out. Have you found out things you didn't know about your colleagues? Even those you know quite well, or you can't believe you know? But it's great, but that's the colour. The colour is the key thing in communication and business in particular, and we're going to cover that in a session. Are there any that stand out? Anyone put a hand out? Interesting revelations they've had? Yes, what were you?
This chap's been given a Mars bar by the Queen Mother.
Let's show you a few skills. The 6 communication commandments as decreed by one Seán Edward Brickell. First one, colour. Most business presentations are colourless, wouldn't you agree? They lack colour. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, how dry or arid your subject matter, your job title, the things you do from day to day, not just professionally, by the way, personally, you can make anything colourful and compellingly so. I know, because I've written about the world's some of the most brutal and brilliant and beautiful and bizarre people, but also some of the world's most boring people, and I've made them come to life. But how does that make you feel? Now you know that and you've heard that.
Another piece of information.
But seriously, putting emotion aside.
It's all part and parcel of learning to communicate and actually being able to high level get to know and talk about other things besides the business, because that will lead to the business as well.
Today's been a really useful day, and you've heard some of my colleagues also say who were dreading this as well, that they're really glad they've done it today, and I think we've all got a lot of positives out of this during the day.
I want to introduce him, obviously, now, the handsome chap at the end, Michael Langmott, you all know. He's, Michael actually has been working at HSH longer than anybody. He started working here in 1843. And I think looks in great shape, quite frankly.
It's simply amazing. I do recommend it. Don't miss a single Seán Brickell's lecture.
The suggestions and the guidance that we've got have been very helpful, and we'll definitely endeavour to apply.
From the techniques that came from the course today, I will go away with just a little bit.
Like this, get the eye of the speaker, wait for them to finish, and hopefully they will acknowledge that I'm there. So I sound close enough, but not so close that David here is going to call security. But not over here and go like this and going, they'll think, some weirdo staring at me, call security again. You get close enough, and I get your eye. Once you've finished, hopefully you'll say, oh, hello, how are you, or who are you, why are you? And what I will do, because David's the one I want to meet, I'll start with Paul. How do you do, Paul? I'm Seán. How do you do?
Hello, Seán.
Jackie, love to meet you. David, love to meet you too. I end up with the person I want to talk to. Does that make sense? Good morning. My name is Seán Brickell. I'm your chairman and host for today. Now, how are we feeling this morning? You had a wild night at the bar last night. Brendan.
I think Seán was awesome tonight. It's amazing.
I love his jokes. I'm fun. Number one.
No. And you gave us fantastic tips that can help us to communicate effectively. Yeah.
More in the business area, you know, because especially me, for example, English is not my first language, so body language is really important. Yeah. And more the fact that if you are, you know, if you need to give talks, you know, in different languages, so you need to speak that, you know, that no, for example, my accent is Spanish, okay? So sometimes I feel like uncomfortable, like, or maybe did I say this right or no, you know, because English is my first language. But then he gave me like really useful tips that I feel more confident next time if I speak in, you know, if I say something in English, perhaps. So yeah, I was really happy today though. Yeah. I learned many things, and I hope that he can come next time to teach us another, you know, lesson.
I've got his contacts, so I'm going to have a coffee with him. Yeah, I did. Yeah, coffee with him. I may even get him more opportunities to come into our company to give us more talk and then have more impact in our business.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
So how can you make what you say colourful, particularly if it's very technical or involved? How can you make it colourful? So that's going to do with analogy, with comparisons. For instance, I'll give you an example. He's doing a training course with some construction people. There's a quantity surveyor there. Now, QSs, as they're known in the construction industry, Say, you know, I go to a party and I say I'm a QS. Before I've got to the S bit, people have run off, yawning or just crying for help. And it's not considered particularly sexy. But then one guy, for instance, he said, well, we had to do this building. He gave this long spiel. He said, oh, yeah, we had to dig up all these dead bodies. Excuse me. They found hundreds of skeletons from the medieval time. They're digging the foundation. How interesting is that? You know, I have a job which sometimes involves digging up dead bodies to build new stuff. Wouldn't you want to talk to him? It's about whetting people's appetite. And also with colour too, it's about adding the concise case studies, the fascinating facts. So, for instance, if you say 87% of the people in our department have won awards for what they do, which is more than any other finance or operations department anywhere else in industry, in Britain, or whatever it might be, that's colour. Does that make sense? Okay, next one is conviction. What I mean by conviction is speak as if you mean it. Don't come on, as I've seen some people do, and I know so-called professional speakers, hi, yes! They're doing all this stuff. Whoa! And I know in Britain that's just considered indecent, because it's expressing emotion. You know, a firm handshake will do, even in passionate moments. Yes, I'm very enamoured of you. No, okay, I mean slightly flippant. Well, in some cases not, it must be said. But I don't go to those parties anymore. What I mean is speak as if you mean it, as if you don't doubt yourself. As a mentor said to me once, when you're speaking or communicating, especially on a stage or in a meeting, whatever it might be, imagine that you are just in a place just south of arrogant. Does that make sense? So it's the way you walk on. Now, this is how a lot of people walk on if they're making a speech or into a meeting, particularly if they're late. Okay, am I looking cool and authoritative now? No. And they'll stand behind a lectern, grip it as if their life depends on it, as if they're getting some electrical charge for it to sustain them, otherwise they'll go... No, you don't want to go on and go, hi! Like a pantomime villain. I'd love to see that, by the way. When you walk on, walk with your head high, walk with dignity, walk as if you mean it, walk as if you own the room, but not in an arrogant or proprietorial way. You know, because you're on stage, you're performing. Whether you're on stage physically or metaphorically, you're performing. So it's speaking with conviction. Do not doubt yourself. Because if you show one scintilla of doubt, your audience will pick it up. So, speak with conviction. Right, clarity. Well, I did the exercise at the beginning. What do you want to achieve? Why are you here? Because you want to be able to have those necessarily difficult conversations, but they're awkward but necessary. You want to present with more pizzazz and more charm, persuasiveness, so you can be more profitable in the broadest sense. You want to develop more natural confidence. You want to be able to network, establish those relationships. That's why you're here, I'd imagine, so it can help not just the business as a whole, BT as a whole, not just help your part of the business, but also help you with your team and your own personal career and prospects. So be clear on what you want, but just as importantly, first thing you need to ask yourself when doing a presentation, what does your audience want to hear? What are their outcomes? A lot of people don't. They go, oh, I'm going to talk about me. Oh, yes, they're going to love it. Not necessarily. You know, your C-class execs will have different agenda and they want to receive information maybe in a different way to someone who is very different, who's an overall type of merchant, or HR may have a different way of processing stuff to finance and operations because of schedules of time and inclination. Because you're going to get auditory digital people who love facts and processes. You're going to get people who are, are more kinesthetic into feeling and maybe hugging and firm handshaking and other things. So be clear on what your audience wants and what you want. And can you explain it very simply? Okay, coherence, the way you use your voice. Most English people, interestingly, only have about 4 notes in their speaking range, which isn't always going to be very interesting. Not say you should be like the Italians. If you come in, if you're English, you go, yes, well, of course, we've had this extraordinary process, which is even better now. People call security and a doctor and have you taken off and put in a darkened room and feed you green tea and feed you gentle music. And rightly so. So the way you use your voice is important. There are 3 types of people in your audience. Loud and fast, like me. I know I'm mic'd up, but I don't normally speak at this pitch. You get nice and normal. We just speak at a more normal, measured pace. Then you get the soft and slow. Now, the soft and slow tend to be maybe more introverted, more auditory digital, and If you're a loud and fast person like me, and I know I can speak fast, and if I speak too fast, I apologize, seriously, if you are a loud and fast person, because a soft and slow person can't take somebody talking like this all the time. They think, oh my God, it's like a machine gun. It's actually like several machine guns. So you need to vary the pitch and tone and variety of your voice. So you appeal to all three types, ideally. Okay. Right, conciseness. Keep it concise if need be. If, for instance, somebody says you have an hour to make this presentation, great. Do you need an hour? Or can you say what you've got to say in 35 minutes? Then say it in 35 minutes. Think about it from your audience's point of view. Say they've got 5 presentations to listen to, or 6 that day, and your presentation number 6, and everybody's gone over, and they've taken a whole hour and more, and by the end they think, oh my God, whoa, I can't take any more. Comedy. Now I put comedy in red for this reason. How can you add a legitimate and acceptable amount of levity in any presentation you do? Now there's been some tittering going on, even the odd bit of guffawing from the front row, which is great. Thank you for that. And that's fantastic, because in any presentation, if you make people laugh, they'll forgive you for a lot. And they'll enjoy the whole process much more. So you need to think, how can I add a legitimate levity? But I would say this, do not force lightheartedness and laughter. Get to know your own style.